After 6 anxious months of waiting, we were hungry, but not just for food, but for heated racing competition. 2013 had a bunch of new presents for us. For the JRDC, it was a new president. Christopher Teach McFarlane ran uncontested for the post of president of the Jamaica Race Drivers Club. Would he be up to the challenge? What new can he bring to the sport of circuit racing? Well, for the first time, patrons were able to purchase pre-sold tickets around the island at a reduced cost, hence shortening the entrance line and the time to enter the venue. More on that vision later. There was an obvious increase in chatter in the months and weeks leading up to Easter Monday, April 1. This was all due to racing teams, drivers, the JRDC, and sponsors leaking what their intentions were for the 2013 circuit racing season. May 2012 made sure that the months leading up to April 2013 would be one never to forget. Caribbean Invasion 2012 saw the jaw-dropping accident of the ATL-sponsored Audi TT on the front stretch. This saw Doug Gore's MP4 Thundersport career come to a premature end for the year. His weapon was then sent back to the workshop for a complete makeover, and it was rumored that it would return with more power and had fans and enemies worried. Yes, worried. Online, another story was unfolding. In a secret lab somewhere, Team Somerville was putting TA1 on a very serious diet. It was being rebuilt with the goal of losing weight, a lot of weight, while remaining reliable and maybe, just maybe, even faster. Carnival of Speed 2012 saw the BMW and Chris Campbell's early exit from the circuit racing scene for the entire year. Chatter picked up by fans had us thinking of his return to the circuit. Total became one of the bigger sponsors in the sports today by sponsoring a class, Bracket 45, and also an amazing racing team. Seeing the value of motorsports for their products in Jamaica, another big sponsor came on board in a massive way. How massive?
It's the Shell Helix Carnival of Speed at Dover on Easter Monday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Come see defending champion Sebastian Ray, racing giants David Somerville, Doug Gore, and Peter Ray. See also Andre Anderson, Ted Roy Burton, Kyle Gregg, Alan Chen, Heath Coswell, Peter Jagon, Jeffrey Panton, and others. See motorcyclists.
Yes, that's right. Automotive service giant Shell came on board as the title sponsor. The meet was now called the Shell Carnival of Speed. If that wasn't enough, Shell had more in store for their major rival Total. But that too is for later. It's race day, and the stands, which remained empty for almost half a year, are now filled with anxious spectators. Loyal patrons with their horns, vuvuzelas, umbrellas, and vending goods, upping the ante for the excitement, and in front of them, a couple of the drivers sent their warnings for their competitors.
Morning, everybody. Kyle Gregg, Total Honda. Alan, you ready?
And of course, the King and Doug Hollywood Gore.
Let me hear ya!
We have our work cut out today.
Daddy's back! Let me hear ya!
But don't worry, we come to work. No walking or talking on the track.
We not said nothing!
Rev up the engine, rev up the engine, rev up the engine, the board tell them a thing. Rev up the engine, rev up the engine, rev up them, what a thing. Well, boom, boom, poor, y'all them love more. You love the rich, you love the simple and the poor, yo. Ah, the better, again, the y'all them galore. Rev up the engine, make the pedal to keep low.
Let it go! What you say? Hollywood is here! He's back!
And we're looking forward to a wicked day of racing.
The B45T and N, the entry-level class into racing at Dover, was a small field compared to others in the past. Nevertheless, it had its share of competition. After one false start, they were given the green flag, and it was a Toyota day for the Turbo Machines. Ocran Davis in his 11 took the lead out of the total corner, followed closely by the Starlet driven by Kirby Smallhorn. Othniel Lawrence, who suffered a breakout penalty in his overpowered Evo 6, started from the pit lane. He dashed through the field and made them look like they were reversing. He gained the lead on lap 2 and stayed there to the end of the race. In the natural class, Dwight Spence in his Civic lost his pole position on the start of the second lap to Cruz Lewis in an Accord. Later in the same lap, turbocharged Smallhorn took the second position from Davis, heading into the JAA corner. In lap 3, Spence handed Lewis a wonderful outside pass on the Carib Cement corner to take the lead in B45N. Hunger Buster Toyota 11 took back the second place from Smallhorn at the start of lap 3, but this was quickly reversed in the tire warehouse corner, where it was quickly reversed again. Davis entered the Shell Helix corner in second place in front of the Starlet. The white flag is up, and Smallhorn pressed right back into second place. The position stayed the same to the checkered flag, where it was revealed that, as suspected, Otney Lawrence broke out, handing the win to Kirby Smallhorn in the turbo class. Dwight Spence in his Honda won the B45N. The final B45 race got underway, and Smallhorn took the lead, followed by Lawrence and Davis. Davis took the lead on the back stretch. Later, Lawrence made a move on Davis, but the door was shut on him. Lawrence took the lead on the front stretch and stayed there for the rest of the race. Davis in second got too comfortable. A big mistake. He left the door open for Smallhorn to walk through, and that he did. In the Carib Cement corner, Kirby Smallhorn took second place with a spectacular pass on the outside. The race ended with no one breaking out, so the results stand as the spectators saw it. Otney Lawrence first, Kirby Smallhorn second, and Ocran Davis third in the B45T, and Dwight Spence in the B45N taking his second win of the day. First-time competitor O'Shane Scott told us about his first time competing at Dover.
Well, it has been totally fun. Right? I came here today with the mindset to just learn the lines, get accustomed to the whole feeling of racing, not to prove anything, not to push myself beyond limit or push the car beyond what I know it can handle. But it was fun being here today, and I totally enjoyed it.
Bracket 38 means cars are not allowed to complete a lap in less than 1 minute and 38 seconds. If they do, they are disqualified or penalized. With everything set to go, the green flag signaled the beginning of the rush of adrenaline and fuel. Kishore Williams in his Nissan Pulsar put his pedal to the floor to speed away from the pack. His namesake Andy Williams in a Honda Civic made all effort to keep up, but he lost his second place position to Keith Mills on the front stretch. Andy would have none of it and went back for his position and succeeded immediately out of corner 1. The race progressed in this order until Mills made a nice pass on Andy in Pinkeys Bluff on lap 3. They continued in this order, but the checkered flag went to Brian Shore in his BMW M3, with second and third going to Andrew Della Penna and Cade Walker. Kishore Williams did not win, as he did a lap, his last lap, in a time of 1 minute 36.4 seconds. That's just under 2 seconds below the class restrictions. Hence, he was out of the runnings this time. Up next was the B38 race 2. As they did the pace lap, you may have noticed that the first man to cross the line and 2 other racers of race 1 were now starting at the back of the grid. This was due to them suffering breakout penalties. The sufferers were Kishore Williams, Keith Mills, and Andy Williams. With one wave of the green flag, they were off, and the blue Nissan 240SX, driven by Andrew Della Penna, emerged out of the total corner, sliding in front of Walker's Honda Civic. In corner 3, the Nissan wagon, driven by Patrick Ricketts, locked up its wheels and made a spin. Thankfully, all escaped without harm, and he continued racing. Mills, exiting corner 5, took second place from Walker. In an effort to take third place from Walker, Andy Williams went in too hard on corners 8 and 9 and had to cut straight across the corner. He momentarily got the position and then lost it. Up front, Della Penna wasn't given any breathing room. Mills was on his tail for a while, but Mills couldn't keep up and fell along the way. Behind Della Penna, a 4-way battle for second, third, and fourth was intense. It was Walker versus Brady versus Gale versus Williams. Walker went wide in the Carburst hairpin, letting through Brady and Gale for second and third. In corner 8, Williams got by Walker, and on the start of the final lap, he got by Gale to enter into a podium finish. Andrew Della Penna won, followed by Everett Brady. Despite all efforts not to break out, Kishore Williams broke out by 1 whole second, giving the third trophy to Ron Gale. Up next were the more powerful two-wheel machines, the motorcycles. At the wave of the green, the newer B-class riders were sent on their way, and 2 corners later, the 3 A-class riders, including Dennis Chinqui, were sent to chase them. By lap 2, the A-class riders, now led by Chinqui, had 1 B-class rider behind them, and they were setting up to take down the rest. Coming down to the white flag, the last lap, Chinqui was on his way to victory when he went down in the total corner. Now it was Robert McDonald in the lead for the A-class, but despite a good effort while still winning his class, the overall winner was Jason Campbell from the B class. The second motorcycle challenge, sponsored by Decal Wireless, got immediately underway. Mandeville's Andre Norman took the lead in the A class but was sent back to third by the hairpin. Robert McDonald kept the lead for a while, pulling the veteran Chin Kui, both putting distance between them and Andre. But Chin Kui took first position with a wonderful inside pass at corner 2. Leading motorcycle B was Jason Campbell. Unfortunately for a B-class rider, he went down entering corner 3. The ambulance was swiftly dispatched to administer first aid to the rider, who looked like Mahone Dyer. Dennis Chin Kui won the race, with McDonald coming in a close second. The final Decal Wireless Motorcycle Challenge took on a winner-takes-all mentality. The B and A-class riders started at the same time, although the B riders were placed at the front of the grid. The starter sent them on their way. By the Shell Helix corner, all the A-class riders up front were fighting for position. It was Robert McDonald, Andre Norman, and Dennis Chin Kui. On lap 2, Chin Kui turned up the power and took the second spot from Norman. Jason Campbell continued to hold number 1 spot in the B class, chased by Dyer. McDonald tried, but the more experienced rider prevailed and went on to win the A class, while Campbell took the B class. Up next on the racing calendar was bracket 27-32. And of course, there is no doubt that this too was going to be an interesting and exciting race. At the fall of the green flag, it was Total sponsored Andre Anderson out in front, followed by Team Obeys Gary Williams in his Evo 6.5. That race was not to last much longer, as Williams retired back to the pits at the start of lap 2. B27 now obviously belonged to Anderson. Behind him, however, in the B32 class, things were much more exciting as all positions were up for grabs. Mitchell versus Jagan, Natasha versus Samantha versus Sebastian. It wasn't long before the Honda belonging to Vivian Mitchell started to smoke. That was Vivian's race, but the race continued and got heated for the first position between Jagan, Chang, Ray, and Somerville. From the textbook of Ray Racing 101, Sebastian demonstrated how outside overtaking in corners is done. Here in the Carburst hairpin, he went on to distance himself from the field while managing to keep within the bracket time. ATL's Natasha tried to take second from Jagan, but out of time, taking home third place in the B32. We spoke to Natasha about her race.
Well, in that race a while ago, I felt something a little loose. I mean, these race cars are under a lot of pressure every time we go out. So things can get loose, and that's where the communication between driver and team is very critical. Because, something can go wrong, so we have to try and be proactive. So I just told them to check some stuff. They found the problem. We're going to fix it, and then we're going to be out to go and beat some guys again.
Although there were really no B27 cars on the pace lap, the lone competitor left standing in the B27, Andre Anderson, started from pit lane after missing the gridding. It was Ray out in front at the fall of the green flag. Although starting third, Natasha Chang quickly took second from Jagan, exiting the total corner, keeping Sebastian in striking distance. A promising Carrodus retired at the exit of corner 10. This race became tense as all podium positions were up for grabs. Samantha chasing Kirk, Kirk chasing Jagan, Jagan chasing Chang, who was chasing Ray. Kirk Diaz made the biggest gain in position. He moved from 4th to 2nd, but the ATL Honda driven by Lady Chang made his life difficult, keeping him in 3rd place most times. Diaz made a boosted move entering the JAA corner, where he merged ahead of the entire pack. Peter Jagan called it quit on the Mobil 1 stretch. Natasha, deciding it was time to strike, set herself up to do just that. She positioned herself on the outside of Ray at the tire warehouse corner. This made for spectacular racing, but in the end, exiting the hairpin, it was Ray who came out on top. Trying to remain true to the sponsor's motto, unbeatable, she tried one lap later at the very same position, but this time she was successful, getting past Ray at Pinky's Bluff. Of course, throwing in a little contact for good measure. Needless to say, despite the good show, Kurt Diaz and Natasha Chang were both given breakout penalties, giving the win to Sebastian Ray. The other female in the race, Samantha Somerville, took second, and VW driver Nigel Edwards placed third.